I'm Gene Siskel, co-host of At the Movies, the movie review program.
I'm Roger Ebert. This week we'll talk about Lola, a West German film about lust and despair, Class of 1984 about punks terrorizing a high school, and Pink Floyd The Wall, a rock and roll musical fantasy.
We'll also give our choice for the worst movie of the week, the stinker of the week. That's next time at the Movies. I'm Gene Siskel, co-host of At the Movies, the movie review program. This week we'll look at Pink Floyd The Wall, and we'll also give our choice for Stinker of the Week. That's next time at the Movies.
Pink Floyd The Wall this week at the movies.
That's the central image in The Wall, a pictorialization of the Pink Floyd song, and one of 4 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on At the Movies, the movie review program. Joining me in the balcony is Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And here with me at the movies is Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune. Well, in addition to Pink Floyd, we'll also be looking at movies about 3 other strange varieties of punks. We'll see Class of 1984 about a high school ruled by violence, Lola, one of the last films by West Germany's Rainer Werner Fassbinder. And now Gene starts with a film about a hard-boiled London gangster.
The movie is called A Long Good Friday, a new English film that introduces us to one of the most unforgettable gangsters you'll ever meet. That's Harold Shand, who's got his fingers in all sorts of pies, trying, as the film opens, to put together a big real estate deal with some Americans. To show his clout, Harold takes the visiting Americans to lunch at his fancy English pub.
Charlie, stay back, stay back. It might still be dangerous. Stay back. You all right, Pete? I'm all right. What about your customers? I don't know. I think they're all right. It blew upstairs and there was no one up there.
We've been 5 minutes earlier.
Yeah. What the hell's going on? Keep them there, Jeff. It's not safe. Yeah, all right. Is it?
You're going to help Pete, right? Occupy him. Anything that's necessary, just buy me some time, right?
Yeah, I'll take them to Justine's.
Terrific.
Get Razors to book a table.
Yeah.
It was the gas.
Gas?
This natural gas causes dangerous leaks sometimes. Howard wants us to go on to a restaurant while he's dealing with it. He'll join us later. Jeff, stay with Harold, will you? I'll drive.
And so there you have it. The confident Harold, the blustering Harold, begins to crack. Someone is trying to embarrass him, blow him away, and he doesn't know who it can be. There are more assaults on Harold and his associates. This film positively is riveting as we watch a bully begin to sweat. But Harold doesn't give up easily, and like so many detectives in other mystery stories, Harold begins rounding up the usual suspects.
For more than 10 years, there's been peace. Everyone to his own patch. We've all had it sweet. I've done every single one of you favours in the past. I've put money in all your pockets. I've treated you lot well, even when you was out of order, right? Well, now there's been an eruption. So, Belfast on a bad night. One of my closest friends, he's lying out there in the freezer. And believe me, all of you, nobody goes home until I find out who done it and why.
Harold, believe me, look, if I knew, I'd say. Look, the last thing I want's any trouble.
You will not forget Harold Shand. That's the ultimate pleasure of The Long Good Friday. His thick English accent takes a while to understand. I missed a few lines at the beginning. But his stiff pride, his bullying, and his newfound fear through this picture are immediately recognizable. Bob Hoskins plays Harold Shand, and this is the kind of performance that wins awards, lots of awards.
This is one of the best films I've seen in a long time. I agree with you about Hoskins. I agree, too, and I'm glad you said the accent's a little thick sometimes. The one word that American viewers are going to have to pick up on is the word grass, which means informer. And unless you know that, you're going to miss a lot of this movie. But apart from that, it's a great film.
You know, we went through all kinds of films about gangsters. We've had great melodramas and films like The Godfather and all that where they're sort of stylized figure. This guy looks like he could really exist. It's that he's not particularly good looking. He sort of feels trapped in that suit every time you see him. I kept thinking of a bulldog in that suit. But this guy, you just watch. Maybe there are guys like this.
And at the end, as evil as he is, you really sympathize with him. In the last shot, he's looking back and forth, his eyes shifting back and forth, and he's trapped. It's a good film. Next at the movies, The Class of '84, a punk rock film, and also Lola, whatever Lola wants, Lola gets.
RCA Video Disc. First, we opened your eyes to great entertainment. Now, we're going to open your ears to stereo sound. Introducing RCA's Stereo Video Disc Player, letting you enjoy great stereo entertainment and movies on your TV tonight. Basic players start at $2.99, stereo higher. RCA's Stereo Video Disc. It'll open your eyes and your ears.
Buy the player now and get 2 video discs free, direct from RCA. Introducing the Soft Sense Healin' Feelin'.
Feel the feeling.
Ooh.
Feel the healing.
Yeah.
A different feeling, a different healing.
Soft Sense Healin' Feeling.
Only Soft Sense works with an exclusive emulsifying system plus oil-free softeners. So it's only the healing that you're feeling.
Feel the feeling, feel the healing.
Soft Sense Healin' Feeling.
Glad has come up with a way to really handle kitchen garbage. With these tall kitchen garbage bags with handles built right in. Glad handle tie bags. This tough puncture-resistant bag has handles that you can tie in a knot, so no more twist ties. And the handles make it easy to lift and carry. Get a handle on your garbage with Glad handle tie bags. Yes, we're #1. We're tough, and we're glad.
Who could forget fresh hot Pillsbury chocolate chip cookies?
How many chips were there? Zillions.
How do you know?
Because me and Mom baked some.
Really? You made hot chocolate chip cookies?
Real hot. All those chips were melting all over.
Mmm.
Then I broke one. And like the chips were everywhere.
I can't stand it.
Then what? I ate it.
Who wouldn't eat chocolate chip cookies fresh and hot?
And Pillsbury says it's best.
The Class of 1984 is a weird and violent movie that a lot of people think is absolute garbage. I think you do. I think it's a strong, original movie with a lot of style. The movie stars Perry King as a high school music teacher who gets involved in a war with a gang of punks who terrorize everyone in the school. And the result is a sort of futuristic punk rock blackboard jungle with elements of realism and a lot of anarchistic fantasy all mixed in together. Early in the movie, King introduces himself to his new students.
Are you in this class?
No.
You want to get out then, please?
No.
My name is Mr. Norris. I'm taking over for Mr. Goldstein. And when I call your name, please answer here.
If I'm not here, do I answer not here?
Abrams?
Not here.
Aladopoulos?
Oh, no, not here.
What is your name, please?
Dude, no. No, he doesn't hit too good.
You jerks don't belong here.
You shut your hole, you little...
You don't scare me, freako.
Cool it. What is your name, since you seem to be in charge of this group?
My Namen ich bin Stegman. Peter.
You're okay. The others, I would guess, belong somewhere else.
They stay with me. Me. Do re mi fa sol la mi do re mi do re mi sol la. Oh, just leaving. Not here. Bye-bye.
That's Timothy Van Patten as the future Hitler there. The movie combines supercharged realism like that with a lot of violence, a lot of rock and roll, and a certain amount of comedy. And this is one of my favorite sort of comic scenes. Roddy McDowell plays a teacher who will try anything to make his students study their biology.
How many chambers are there in the human heart?
4. I think 4.
It's wonderful. Oh, it's a pleasure. It's just a pleasure. Oh, such a tremendous pleasure. Mr. Stegman, what is an amphibian? You should know. We had such a wonderful display hanging on our wall. You don't know.
This may be the first high school movie that teachers can enjoy. I wonder if you get the idea that The Class of 1984 is a good movie. I think it is. It's not junk, although a lot of critics have dismissed it, and Newsweek called this movie The Class of 1982 with herpes. Well, that's not fair. There are so many movies about high schools in revolt and punks in rebellion. They all get lumped together as dead teenager movies and dismissed. But The Class of 1984 is a little different and a little special. This is a movie with style and humor and a lot of raw energy. I liked it.
And I'm sitting here thinking I wish I wrote that Newsweek line, because I really didn't like the movie, Roger, and I'm surprised you did, because very early on we see the teacher with the beard, the good teacher, Perry King, and we see his wife, and we're told right away she's a few months pregnant. And right away I turned to the person I was with and said, she'll be raped in a few scenes, and she was. And then I see Roddy McDowell, affectionately like his pets, in the biology lab. And I turned to my companion and said, watch out, all the animals will be skinned.
Okay, so you're prescient. What do you...
Not prescient, that's easy. And a movie that can be described that quickly falls into a pattern that simply is over before it begins.
The movie cannot be described that quickly because all you're doing is limiting it to the plot. This movie is based on style and energy. It's based upon the feeling that it gives us. Of course, a lot of this stuff is predictable,
yeah,
but it's miles better than most high school movies.
That you're not giving it much of a compliment when you say that. I think that this is true, that the people, the punks that they are in this film, are more like punk rock musicians than they are real kids, and this film tries and bathes itself with realism. Well, our next film is Lola, made by the young master German filmmaker Rainer Werner Fassbinder, who died last June at age 36 after incredibly making more than 35 feature films in his brief life. In Lola, Fassbinder follows the story of the classic German film The Blue Angel, the one with Marlene Dietrich, with an uptight man falling for a loose dance hall singer. In this film, Lola, it is a new efficient building commissioner in a rebuilding Germany in the 1950s who falls for Lola, the singer prostitute. He represents the old efficient Germany. She represents the new anything for a buck Germany. Here they talk in a car. He doesn't realize that she is a prostitute.
Sie sind kein Lügner, kein Betrüger, kein Heuchler. Sie sind einfach nicht korrupt, Herr von Bohm. Und deshalb passen Sie nicht in diese Stadt.
Und Sie?
Ich? Ich bin korrupt.
Das sind Sie ganz gewiss nicht.
Oh, ich passe mich an. Das ist dasselbe. Aber bevor ich Ihnen jetzt noch mehr von mir verrate, werde ich mich verabschieden.
Oh, das ist schade.
Da kommt der Bus, der Sie in die Stadt bringen wird. In Ihre Stadt.
Ich werde Sie mir auf der Fahrt aufmerksam ansehen.
Sie werden nichts entdecken. Es liegt ja alles im Dunkeln. Aber das ist tagsüber nicht anders.
Ich finde es unfair, dass Sie sich jetzt von mir trennen, wo ich noch so wenig über Sie weiß.
Wollen Sie eine Akte über mich anlegen? Oder wollen Sie mich küssen?
Das bedeutet, dass die Renten zunächst einmal der gegenwärtigen Lohn- und Gehaltsentwicklung angepasst werden.
Fassbinder's films always have a strong visual style. She's always bathed in that hot pink light, he in that cold blue. This is an exceptionally strong film, a battle between their natures. Who will transform the other? Which way is Germany going? Fassbinder's answer is very bleak, but his film is not. It's full of rich characters, lurid colors, and a battle among lost souls who prefer money to human contact. It's hard for me to remember a film that made me quite so sad as this one, and yet it's a joy to watch. I think the filmmaking is at a very high level.
You mentioned Fassbinder's stylistic devices, and of course in every one of his films the people are rather restrained by the style that they affect and also by the visual style of the film. But in the good films they seem trapped by those styles and trying to escape from them. In the bad films, and I think this is a bad one, they seem to just occupy the style. It's an exercise in style. I didn't care about these people. The movie was tired. It didn't have any energy. It was a real disappointment, especially coming after Maria Brown, which this is supposed to be the next film in a trilogy.
And I liked Maria Braun, and I also thought that this film had some of the same themes with the people standing for the country and the national character. You know, this is a case where when I hear you say you didn't like the characters and they were tired, I just think these were three exceptional performances.
I don't think I said I didn't like the characters. I said I didn't think that anything happened with the characters.
Tremendous things are happening with the characters. We have people crossing paths. We have total change by that efficient guy. There's a lot happening here, and I think what happens is what he's saying about this country, which is the country can't get out of its national character.
I think if you go back and look at Maria Brown starring Hannah Shigula, you'll find a lot more energy than you find in this film. So, anyway, next at the movies, another rock and roll apocalypse, Pink Floyd, The Wall. Our next movie, Pink Floyd, The Wall, is not a concert film by the British rock group Pink Floyd, but something altogether different and altogether amazing, a bombardment of music, words, and images tell a story of violence and drug addiction in the world of a musician who's building a wall around himself, brick by brick. The hero of the movie is a rock star named Pink, and when the movie opens, his wall is all finished. He's locked himself into a hotel room and is hallucinating about his life. In this scene, he attacks the schools that tried to crush his individuality.
If you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? You! Yes, you, laddie! Poems, everybody! The laddie reckons himself a poet.
Funny, it's just like my grade school. Later, Pink becomes a rock star and grows addicted to the power he has over his fans, but he doesn't allow anyone or anything into his private life. Nobody knows him, and in this scene, deep in his tortured hallucinations, he imagines himself as an absolute dictator.
I'd like to go to the show. To feel the warmth and confusion that face could glow. Well, I got some bad news for you, sunshine. Pink isn't well, he's back at the hotel. And they sent us along as a surrogate band. Now tonight, we're gonna find out where you guys really stand. Are there any queers in the audience tonight? Get him up against the wall! Yes! No! There's one in the spotlight, he don't look right! Have him up against the wall! Yes! And that one looks Jewish. And that was the clown! He alluded others riff-raff into the room. This was smoking and joy, and that was got spots. If I have my way, I'll have all of you shot.
That's Bob Geldof as Pink, and the other stars of this movie are off screen. They're Roger Watkins of Pink Floyd, who wrote most of the music, Gerald Scarfe, who drew the nightmarish animation, and Alan Parker, the director. And this guy once made a movie called Bugsy Malone with children that was one of the most innocent musicals ever made. Now with Pink Floyd, The Wall, he's made one of the most horrifying musicals of all time. But the movie is effective. The music is strong and true. The images are like sledgehammers, and for once, the rock and roll hero isn't just a spoiled narcissist, but a real suffering image of all the despair of this nuclear age. This is a real good movie.
I liked it an awful lot, too. I liked that scene that we just showed very much. At the same time, you know how they have these records that now they make video for them, and they play them on all the late-night rock shows, and you see that? This movie struck me, when I didn't care for it, as just one long version of those, you know, running almost 2 hours. The images got so repetitive that, for me, that the film sort of broke down. But, at the same time, that central image will stay with me for an awful long time.
I'll defend the repetitive images. I think that maybe what they're doing here in this movie is trying to make a movie in a musical form, and one of the things you have in a long piece of music is a theme that's introduced and repeated, and there are variations on it. I think that's what they're doing here. I think it's a real inventive film trying to do something different.
Well, that's not a bad explanation. I liked it, just not as much as you did. Next at the movies, the worst movie of the week.
Look at me. Do you like what you see? Good. Because it's not me. It's a recording of me on Memorex videotape. This remarkable tape has been recorded and re-recorded 100 times, but I bet you still couldn't tell if it was Memorex or me, which really isn't me. It's Memorex. Memorex videotape. Even after 100 recordings, you'll wonder, is it live or is it Memorex?
Now I'd like to introduce this little fellow here. His name is Aroma, the educated skunk, and he's been busy sniffing out the stinker of the week, the week's worst movie.
These are amazing-looking animals. You know, I thought they were black and white. They're sort of like a golden brown fur in there.
Never been around a skunk before, Jim?
Never before. But I have seen the stinker this week, an insultingly bad film called Homework, a teenage sex comedy mostly about a young man who desperately wants to lose his virginity, which he does when he meets the sex-pot mother of a classmate played by Joan Collins.
The Joan Collins?
The Joan Collins from Dynasty. Unfortunately, it takes about 60 minutes before we ever see that. What's so bad about Homework, in addition to a sniggering, leering story, is that it's constructed so poorly it hardly qualifies as a movie. Characters are introduced, dropped, picked up again. A double is used for Joan Collins' one sex scene. And the photography is so ugly and unprofessional that I felt sorry for the people who had to pay $4 to see Homework. They were royally fleeced.
Well, so much for the squeak of the week. Now let's review our opinions of the major movies on this program. The Law of Good Friday is the drama about the rise and fall of a London gangster, and we both admired Bob Hoskins' great performance. We recommend you see it. We split, though, on the class of 1984, the story of punks terrorizing a high school. Gene said it was predictable and the students were caricatures. I thought the movie had a lot of style and raw energy. Another disagreement on Lola, one of the last films by Fassbinder. I thought this film was predictable and demoralized. Gene thought it was an extraordinary portrait of a people and a nation fighting for their identity. And finally, we both recommend Pink Floyd The Wall, a violent and striking rock and roll fantasy. I admired it a lot more than Gene, though. I think it's a stunning vision of self-destruction. Gene was more reserved. He likes the film's striking images. He thought they repeated themselves too much.
Well, so much for this week. Next time at the movies, we'll be reviewing The Tempest, with John Cassavetes as an architect having a midlife crisis. Also, Yes, Giorgio, a musical love story featuring the film debut of opera star Luciano Pavarotti. Until then, we'll see you at the movies.
Hooray for Raisinets. Now you can enjoy one of the all-time favorite movie candies at home. Goobers and Snowcaps too. Hooray for Raisinets. The great refinishing team, Zip Strip Paint, Varnish and Stain Remover, and Zip Guard, clear urethane wood finish for that professional look. Andron by Jovan, the first pheromone-based fragrances scientifically created to attract, capable of triggering a magnetic reaction between men and women.
The class of 1984 sounds like another one of those dead teenager movies with the mad slasher sneaking down the hallways and terrorizing everybody in the high school, but it's actually a lot better than that, and I don't care how many critics have attacked this movie as complete garbage. I think it's pretty good. It stars Perry King as a young music teacher who goes man-to-man against a punk high school gang leader, and the gang rules the school.
When I call your name, please answer here.
If I'm not here, do I answer not here? Abrams? Not here.
One of the movie's best and strangest scenes stars Roddy McDowell as a biology teacher who'll do anything to get his students to study their lessons.
You should know. We had such a wonderful display.
McDowell has a couple of good scenes in this movie, and the ending of the film is spectacular. It's sort of a combination of Halloween and The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I think The Class of 1984 is a pretty good movie. It shouldn't be confused with the run-of-the-mill dead teenager exploitation high school films. It's violent, it's gory and bloody, but it's also got a lot of style and a lot of raw energy. I'm Roger Ebert, and I'll see you at the movies.